One, two, three. Hey everyone, it's Chris here, and I'm recording a footage here in the dark for you to discuss some of the details that we learned today about a supposed leak that made it out regarding Halo 5 Guardians, and specifically the multiplayer and the mechanics that have been surrounding it. Now, the internet has been ablaze today following the apparent appearance of the aim down sight mechanic that is present in Halo 5. Now, I will be showing you a clip of this momentarily regarding this, but I'm going to be explaining my thoughts on the matter, and so if you're not aware of it, I will be explaining it for you here as well. Now, the issue today arose because of the apparent presence of the aim down sight mechanic in Halo, which is not something that has been very much accustomed to it. Now, aim down sight, as you probably know, is a very common mechanic that has been found today in so many types of first-person shooters, like of course Battlefield, Call of Duty, and recently it was announced that the big game Star Citizen actually has aim down sight mechanics in the first-person module. And this is all over the internet. Now, the buzz came around as it was revealed that Halo 5 Guardians supposedly actually had this mechanic. And needless to say that some people, especially on sites like NeoGAF, did not take this sort of thing very well at all. Basically saying like the automatically was ruined because of this. However, there have been tweets that have been sent out after this leak that came about saying that this is not aim down sight, or not aim down sight as you think that it actually is, and that it's only a visual representation of it and not actually the sort of thing. Now, here's me explaining the sort of mechanic to you. Is in aim down sight is that a player trades their mobility for increased precision when shooting weapons. So this is why when you're playing Battlefield or when you're playing Call of Duty, when you aim down the sight of your weapon, you actually slow down and you actually, move at a slower pace so that you can acquire your target and take them down. And that's very important to games like that where precision is everything, like in Battlefield, where you have to slow down and sight your weapons if you want to hit your target over an extended distance, because gravity is a factor and all that. Now, people didn't like that in Halo because they believe it codifies it, or it takes aspects of popular games like Call of Duty and tries to use that to impress the player base. And that might be true. However, based on my gotta light the screen up again. Now, based on my insight into this, and I could be totally wrong about this, is that it looks like it doesn't take away from anything. And there was another tweet was released. I think it was by Joshua Holmes, unless I am absolutely wrong with that name, but I think that is correct, and I'll try to look that up again, was stating that there are no movement penalties, no accuracy penalties, and the fact that de-scoping is actually a thing. Now, taking all that into account, it looks like that this is just a cosmetic sort of application of the aim down sight mechanic and not in terms of actual gameplay mechanics. Even though it looks like it isn't. So, what does this mean? I think this means that, well, when you actually see the clips as I'm going to show you it's going to appear like this. But given the size of the reticles and the fact that it seems to move in with the same speed in the frames of your regular scoping animation, it doesn't look like this is going to be a thing. And based on the clips that I've seen, it's only a thing with weapons with actual scopes. I mean, if you look at the assault rifle, it doesn't have any sort of sights whatsoever. So I don't think this is going to be a thing for any of those weapons unless they actually have that sort of scopes. And let's think about the DMR here, in that it doesn't even have, it's not a red dot scope, so it's probably not even going to function the same way. However, here's going to be the clips as I saw them, with the one that's getting everyone's panties into a bunch at the very end. Enjoy the clips. And I was lucky enough to get them before the Microsoft ninjas were able to take them off the server. So these are just raw recordings from the WebIMs I was lucky enough to keep open, so enjoy. Okay, so here are the clips here as they appear, straight as leaks, but I'm going to be going over some of the stuff that we've seen in these leaks just so you have an idea of what it's going to be looking like, what we're probably going to be expecting here. And it gives us an interesting look at the gameplay mechanics as well, but also at the sort of the infamous one where we get to see the aim down sight mechanic. Now I'm going to be breaking these down as we go along based on my observations. The first is interesting because we have something that looks like a pistol, although if you look at the top right corner, it's double stack magazine. This looks like a burst fire machine pistol that's going to be allowing for a quick shield depletion and or headshots that functions kind of like a pistol-sized battle rifle. And of course, the player switches to the assault rifle, not aiming down any sort of sight that isn't actually there, which again supports the fact that this is not a thing for all weapons. And as we can see here, that the player here is not using any sort of scope because the assault rifle does not actually possess any. But you see here, he's getting attacked by other players, in which his shield is going to deplete, but also his health as well, which means that the health bar is going to be a thing. Of course, then he switches to a sniper rifle, which looks like he's using the Halo 4 model, so I'm going to assume that's not going to be the final thing. It's more of a placeholder. And that seems to use that model, but probably won't be that actual model for the final release. We'll see. Third is when he's using an SMG that appears to have a red dot sight, similar to ODST and Halo 2 Anniversary. And we can see that there's actually some thruster pack motion there, and which hints at new mobility. And of course, they switched to the battle rifle, which has some new texts, new colors, and of course, the red dot scope there on the top. And some shot of Midship, which is an awesome map in Halo 2 and Halo 3. I'd like to see how it plays in Halo 5. It looks awesome, holograms. But of course, it's the one that got on everyone's nerves, where we see some supposed aim down sight here with the battle rifle. Except if you look really close, you can see that the reticle size does not change, which means that the player still has the same precision that he have without this sort of thing with more traditional scoping method. So you got a lot more peripheral vision, which means you can see a lot more threats without the darkening of the screen getting in the way. And it looks like that it's better for target acquisition, but the bottom is dominated by the gun, so we're going to see how that plays. I'd like to see this more in better motion and better quality. So the player's going to sprint, but he's also going to draw the energy sword here, which looks a little bit different than what we're used to. It's stockier, fatter. It's not all that pretty, but I'd like to see how it plays. I think I would have preferred the more traditional energy sword, but there seems to be some cool information regarding what this blade is and what it could be. So this is a cool image I found on NeoGAF regarding the sword, and it looks like there is some text here that's called the Prophet's Bane. What does this mean? That your team has picked it up. So this looks like that this is a team-oriented objective that probably revolves around this sword in some way. So I'm not sure if this is a game type or this is a sword is a specific sort of game type, a weapon that's present here and nowhere else. It's cool to see as well that we have the traditional point system, like the 1 point system that was available in all the other Halo games except for Halo 4. That's represented by the 28 to 8 thing, and has a cool blue and red scorecard there that basically shows nice and plain who's in the lead without having like hundreds versus just like the regular 1 point system. Now looking to the left, you can see the radar has height. That's a factor as well. That's kind of like in Reach, and I don't remember if Halo 3 had height in the radar. I think it did, but I know that Halo 2 did not, so height is still a thing. So the vertical element is important when getting the drop on your enemy, but we're going to see how that is there. And callouts are there as well. As we saw with Halo 2 Anniversary, callouts are a thing, but it looks like it's just represented by mid. If they're playing on midship, they're using traditional MLG style callouts. So I'd like to see more about this. I'd like to see what the Prophet's Bane is, and I'd like to see what sort of game type it is. Is this sort of like a keep away sort of thing? Is it sort of like an oddball sort of thing? I don't know, but this is one of the things that actually gets me excited because this is something new game type wise that we can probably have some fun with. I'm hoping to see something that's about as addicting as Ricochet to play, and we're going to see what happens. So that's the end of this little speculation corner. Back to Face Me. So there we go. That's all the information I have regarding the leaks that have come out regarding Halo 5 Guardians, and what I can conclude from this is that a cosmetic zoom feature is now in place. appears to be aimed down sight, but it seems like in practice it's not, because it's not around all weapons. Because regarding the assault rifle and the pistol, if they could have done aim down sights, they would have done that already. And seriously, if D-scope is a thing, why even be able to go into aim down sight? Doesn't make any sense to me, especially with weapons that don't have any scopes. We can see that thrusters are in place, that health bars are back, which will encourage some thinking. Should I charge into that? Should I not? I'm not sure. And that some things are placeholder, like the Halo 4 sniper rifle, which is likely going to change before final release. We've also seen that there is some sort of new game type or some sort of significance regarding this sword and the Prophet's Bane. What does this have to do with the Prophets? What does this have to do with multiplayer? And I'd like to see more about like a game type that was in a supposed leak that involves Spartans being catapulted onto a map. So we're going to see what's going to happen. I am recording this on November 9th. Actually, it just turned to November 10th. So we're still about a day away from release. It's Monday, so they're going to be showing us stuff roughly at 11 p.m. Eastern, where I live. So it's not going to take very long. So we're going to be seeing some new footage very soon. We're going to be making some new thoughts very soon, and I'll be expressing my thoughts on that new gameplay and tearing it apart based on my initial thoughts with what I've seen here with these footage. Now, I'm not going to post this until after the multiplayer release because given that these are technically leaks, it's possible that they could be taken down by Microsoft. And seeing as how the source material where I got the WebMs from have actually failed to download because of server issues, I'm going to assume this is a thing. So recorded on November 10th, very early in the morning, and I will be releasing on November 10th, very late at night. So I'll see you guys there. Thanks for sticking with this, and let's get to playing some Halo. Let's have some fun again. Zach Schwillen, I'm signing off.